Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's Mental Toughness Made Simple video. I'm Anthony Ross. This week I'm going to be chatting to you guys about the yips. Very common challenge in tennis and very hard to work with. So my understanding of the yips is that it is a situation where a particular shot breaks down under pressure. As I said, it's probably the most challenging thing to work with when it comes to mental toughness, but what I've found over time is that while there's no one super simple solution, there's just a number of things that if players work on, they generally improve the yips over time. So that's what I'm going to talk about. So we've got, I'm going to give you 6 ideas, and the first one's a foundational idea, and that is a basic mistake a lot of players make is that they try to practice the shot without combining it with pressure. And this never works because at the end of the day, what the yips are is it is a neural pathway that fires only when we're under pressure. So if you think of it like 2 sort of roads, when we practice things without pressure, that creates one neural pathway in our brain, and the yips is a situation when over time we perform the motor skill combined with pressure that actually activates a different neural pathway. And so to improve that pathway and to change the way that pathway fires, we need to actually activate that neural net that gets fired in those conditions. So with practicing under pressure, you generally want to develop a hierarchy. So starting with lower pressure, but definitely having pressure, and start practicing in those conditions and try to elevate the amount of pressure over time. So that's a really key foundational underlying thing that will help us develop the yips. And now I'm going to go through 5 other things that generally people find useful. The second one is try to get our attention external. So basically what that means is we don't want to be paying attention to like cues in the shot. Say it's our forehand, we don't want to be focusing on a technical aspect of that shot when we're practicing trying to improve the yips. We want to be focusing externally, maybe on our opponent, so just placing our attention on our opponent, or maybe the target we're trying to hit. So basically always looking out and paying attention outwards rather than inside our own body. The third tip now I'm going to give you is working on developing the level of commitment we've got to take the action that we want. So if we think of yips, often say it's second serve or forehand, players will go to hit the ball and just freeze and not follow through. And so with commitment work, we say, no matter what, I am going to absolutely commit to hitting the ball long and really hitting it aggressively under all circumstances. And that becomes the only goal, is to really increase that level of commitment to do the action that we want. So then we can move on to, we've done attention, we've got committing to actions. The next one that is helpful is to do emotional fitness work. So if we think of when we're running, for example, in physical fitness, over time, we get more used to and fit at having the difficult physical discomforts. And so what we want to do here is practice getting better at having the emotional discomfort that comes with having the yips. And a good way to do that is in between points, to practice just, so not during points, but in between points, placing attention on the anxiety, the fear, the frustration, feelings in our body that comes with having the yips, and just practicing observing it without trying to change it or reduce it, and that develops fitness over time. When we're not trying to do anything with it, we're just focusing our attention on the physical sensations in our body of the difficult feeling. It has several benefits, but it basically develops our fitness and over time can help us respond better to the difficulties that come with the yips. Another way that we can do this is to simplify decision making. So this is a really simple one, but a great one to do. So the more decisions we have to make, the more pressure there is, and the more likely we'll have the yips in that moment. So the more, say, if you've got the yips on your forehand that you've decided before the point, I'm only going to hit cross court, and pick that target area that you're going for, and just have the decision already made, the less chance that the yips will take effect in that moment under pressure. And the final one, which is a really, really powerful one, is that you can practice doing a cognitive task so at the same time. So what that means is basically at the start of the point, you might have it start at 100 and say, I'm going to count backwards in 3 throughout the point. So as the point starts, you just start counting 100, 97, 94, and every new point do a different task. So it's not just memory task, you're actually cognitively having to think about doing that sum while you're playing the point. And what that does is that it can, under the pressure moment, you're still in the pressure environment, but because you're performing a cognitive task, it's weakening that neural net of the yip over time. So that can be a really, really helpful one that people find helpful. So hopefully you guys have found this helpful. There's 6 things that are really important to work on with the yips. And as I said, usually in combination, those things really effectively help improve the yips over time. So if you guys, or wherever you're watching it, this video, you can subscribe if you want to hear more from me. I'll put up a form with the summary steps that I've just talked about, so you can get a download from that wherever you are. So yes, I'm Anthony Ross. Hopefully you find this helpful, and have a great week. Cheers.